So let's disable that. Slap into the paint. Okay. Yeah, let's bring out the paint. Who's ready for paint? Okay. So we have to imagine, all right, that this represents sort of our perfect game, right?
Right.
If we make every right decision, everything works for us. Team comp itemization, Boris is our bitch. Ellis is so happy for us because we bought 3 Leandries. You know, there's an enemy who bought Morellos, and so we destroyed them for it. You know, this is the perfect game. You know, we can call it P for perfect. Okay. Now, challenger player. Let me do what most don't. What's this? Challenger. Look. You can use text, right? Challenger player. Nice. Challenger player will deviate subtly at different moments of the game, but always try and get back to it, okay? Obviously, the peaks will be slightly less, but they will always try at certain points to make good decisions. You know, when they deviate, that tries and bring them back to the win conditions, right? The win conditions, whatever lets them have a good game win. Now, in lower elo, the problem is, okay, lower elo, hell, it sucks. What happens is, instead of actually sort of having this ability to recognize, right, we deviated and we need to come back, what happens is, and this will probably happen in your game as well, you know, like say something bad happens in the previous game, okay, right, we've deviated, we've fallen off, and it's very early in the game. These mistakes happen much earlier in silver and gold, you know? What I try to do with coaching, and we'll do in both your games, is I will identify this point and say, right, to get back to the road, let's use blue, all right? We need to make this decision. Okay, that's not blue paint. To get back to the road, we need to use this decision, right? That gets us back to being on track to have the perfect game. However, what happens is, we want to be sensitive to colorblind, so we won't use red. Let's go with green. Wait, that's even worse. Brown. What happens often is that you end up going this way. You know, you compound the mistake by adding a separate mistake to the mistake. All right? And then again, from here, we can say, okay, we could still get back to it, but you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to go further away from the road. And then we say, right, you know what? We could actually even go back there, but then again, you say, no, I like this way. So every mistake where you make the wrong decision, you get further away from the perfect game. And now what happens is, and this happens a lot, especially in the first 15 minutes. So let's call this like, you know, end of early game, right?
Okay.
End of early game, circa 15 minutes. Because that's usually where we transition to the mid game. And, you know, junglers don't exist. They take our camp, sons of bitches, and everything sucks. Right?
I hate laners.
No, I hate laners too. And now in a higher elo game, this does happen too, right? This does happen too, where they might actually just have a horrible time, and they sort of just deviate to the sad lands. They're able to at least recognize, and this is where Tyler 1 is very good. He understands the win condition and how to get back here. Now, does he get tilted? Does he make the wrong decision? Yeah, but he does more often than not understand, hold up, we're behind. To get back to the perfect game, to get back to the win, I need to go here. Whereas a lot of people tilt off the face of the earth exponentially.
All right.
This is just tilt, you know? Tilt town. We're even gonna write it, you know? Whereas in low elo, what happens is, even though you compound these low mistakes, right, over and over again in the early game, there's always a theoretical path that will allow you to come back and win the game. And which is why Rengar and such things are so good, because the enemy will throw, the Soraka's gonna miss position, the ADC's gonna split push, because they don't understand macro, it's macaroni, and you kill them, right? That's what we talked about in the last videos, identifying when to split, when to assassinate, and then such, when you're behind, you can come back. The problem is, again, very often, people just tilt very heavily, and it sends them on this wayward direction, and then what happens is, they just keep making the compounded mistakes, you know? Like this is tilt, and the middle one is just compounded mistakes here, okay? And what happens is, this is the worst one. This is the worst one because it shows an inability to learn and an inability, or maybe that's not right, an unwillingness to learn when people repeatedly do this over and over again. Okay? The tilt is easy to get through because you can say, right, we'll hook you up with a psychologist. You know, you go to sessions. All right. We go watch Healthy Gamer every day. We buy the T-shirt. We meditate. We go weights. We drink enough water. Stay hydrated, by the way. You know, and we can fix the tilt. That's easy to do. I make videos about throwing from tilt and so on. Hydration. Yeah. Okay. But the middle line here for me upsets me because I get a lot of messages for coaching saying, hey, I threw at 35 minutes. And I say, okay, you threw at 35 minutes. All right, let's talk about the third minute. And I can tell people don't like it when I do that. I know people don't like it when I do that because it's not the question they asked. But I'm giving them the answer to the question. Because the question is never, how do I fix this in low elo? It's never, how do I fix this? It's how do I not get to this point in the first place? How do I identify which points on the graph would allow me to get back to the perfect game, to undo my mistakes, to get back to the win condition. And so what we need to do with you is if you're on this huge losing streak, I'm going to say you probably have a little bit of tilt going on, deep tilt.
Possibly.
Just a smidgen of tilt.
It's embedded that I don't even notice it.
Yeah, right? I'm the same. And then there's these cues that can allow you to get back into the game, just like the previous VOD with Dexdoda on the Kindred, where we could say, right, good decision, you made a nice play, but it doesn't take you closer to the perfect game. And this is not binary, you know, this is just a simplistic metaphor for why people don't actually end up, you know, in the perfect game here. And sometimes you make a few mistakes, and then what happens is you stay going straight as well. You just never get closer to the perfect game, and you might not get further away from it, but you're so far gone that this gap between the win and the lose is just too big. And so these games will be the ones where you're like, hey, you know what? I feel like I should have won. But you didn't win because, you know, we didn't identify the points in the game where we could have come back, the points in the game where we made a mistake or how to rectify it and so on. So, Twitch chat, anyone else who is thinking about climbing, remember to always, this is horrible, I could probably do something nice and post it on the Patreon, but the goal is to always identify these decisions, these crucial moments here. Oh, that's a straight line.
No, I think this is a work of art.
These crucial decisions, right? Where you can say, okay, I made a mistake, but let's get back to it. Instead of, hey, I made a mistake, I'll keep going through the motions.